Tuesday, March 19, the identification of the Scarlet Beast. Revelation 13 describes the scarlet beast in terms similar to the sea beast of Revelation, which made war with and overcame God's people. Revelation 17 verse 3, "So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, which was full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns." And in Revelation 13 verses 5 to 7, "And he was given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and he was given authority to continue for 42 months. Then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and those who dwell in heaven. It was granted to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation." It was this earlier period of persecution that caused the pure woman to flee into the wilderness during the prophetic period of 1260 days or years from AD 538 to 1798, as we read in Revelation 12:13 and 14, how when the dragon saw that he had been cast to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child, but the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. Though living in an age of ecumenism, Protestants would do well to remember the terrible persecution of the past, because according to prophecy, something similar, but only worse, will happen again. Question, read Revelation 17 and verse 8. Compare the wording of this verse with Revelation 13 verse 8. How does Revelation 13 verse 3 clarify the 3 phases of the existence and activities of the beast? Revelation 17 verse 8. "The beast that you saw was, and is not, and will ascend out of the bottomless pit and go to perdition. And those who dwell on the earth will marvel, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they see the beast that was, and is not, and yet is." And Revelation 13 verse 8, "All who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world." And verse 3, "And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world marvelled and followed the beast." The scarlet beast is identified as the one that was and is not, and will ascend out of the bottomless pit and go to perdition. This tripartite phrase is, first of all, a counterfeit of the divine name Yahweh, who is, and who was, and who is to come, from Revelation 1 verse 4. Also, we read Revelation 4 and verse 8. "The 4 living creatures, each having 6 wings, were full of eyes around and within, and they do not rest day or night, saying, Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come." It also further points to the 3 phases of existence through which the beast has passed. 1. The beast was. It existed in the past. Its prior activities lasted for the prophetic period of 42 months, also known as 1260 days or years, Revelation 13 and verse 5. "And he was given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and he was given authority to continue for 42 months. And we also looked at it on Sunday's lesson from Lesson 9. 2 is not. With its deadly wound, Revelation 13 verse 3, "And I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marvelled and followed the beast." The beast went into its non-existence phase, at least as a persecutor, in 1798. It vanished for some time from the world scene, yet it survived. 3. Finally, with the healing of the deadly wound, the beast will regain its power and exert it in full satanic rage. Revelation 17 describes the beast of Revelation 13, 1-8 at the time of the healing of its deadly wound. Revelation chapter 13, verses 1 through to 8. Then I looked on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast rising up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his horns 10 crowns, and on his heads a blasphemous name. Now the beast which I saw was like a leopard, his feet were like the feet of a bear, and his mouth like the mouth of a lion. The dragon gave him his power, his throne, and great authority, and I saw one of his heads as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed, and all the world marvelled and followed the beast. So they worshipped the dragon, who gave authority to the beast, and they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And he was given a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and he was given authority to continue for 42 months. Then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name, his tabernacle, and those who dwell in heaven. It was granted to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And authority was given him over every tribe, tongue, and nation. All who dwell on the earth will worship him, whose names have not been written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. Upon this revised beast, the harlot Babylon sits as well. Once again, there will be a short-lived union of religion and politics as it existed during the Middle Ages, and persecution again will take place. So let's finish today by reading a short passage from The Great Controversy, page 602. Let opposition arise, let bigotry and intolerance again bear sway, let persecution be kindled, and the half-hearted and hypocritical will waver and yield the faith. But the true Christian will stand firm as a rock, his faith stronger, his hope brighter than in days of prosperity. End of quote. What warning should we take from these words about what our Christian experience needs to be now, even before final events unfold? You have been listening to a reading of the Adult Sabbath School Bible Study Guide by Dr. Percy Harold from Queensland, Australia. This service is brought to you by Hope Channel, the Sabbath School Department, and Christian Services for the Blind. Remember, God is always faithful.